Hey everyone, welcome back to your week ahead astrology breakdown. I'm Matthew Oliver with Stillwater Alchemy, and this week the moon is growing in light. She's growing in energy. We have some shifts happening in the cosmos. Of course, we're wrapping up Sagittarius season, entering Capricorn season as we are navigating our way through the holidays, which brings me to some announcements. Number one, we still have the Sagittarius season giveaway. So the winners will be announced on Thursday, December 21st at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So the last chance to submit your receipts showing that you donated will be 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Thursday. At the time of me recording this, there was about 46 individuals that have donated, sent over their receipts, which is amazing. Thank you all so much. But I feel like we can get that number much, much higher. There's about 2,000 people that watch these weekly breakdowns, plus people that watch Stillwater's Instagram stories. So if you feel called to be generous, to donate $50 to a charity of your choice, feel free to send me a copy of that screenshot at stillwateralchemy@gmail.com or through Stillwater Alchemy's Instagram page. And when you send me the receipt, also send your name and your email so I know who to contact if you are the one who is picked for one of the 3 prizes. And for those of you who have already donated, feel free to encourage family, friends, or community to also be generous, even if you don't feel called to enter into the giveaway for whatever reason. I think it's just a nice challenge for all of us to extend, to stretch ourselves financially, to know that we can have whatever we desire and also be generous to those who could also benefit from the Sagittarius generosity in the cosmos at this time. All right. And second of all, I am going to be taking some time off for the holidays, which means that this upcoming week, I'm going to be pre-recording some content for the week ahead for the Cancer full moon workshop. So if there's anything that you guys are wanting or curious about, feel free to send me those questions or DMs at the start of this week so I can integrate them when I record all of that content later on. And the final announcement is the 1-question readings are still open for a little bit until December 20th. So these are very special 1-question readings because the eye patch in all of its glory is still being used. So I feel like these are like collectibles that you're getting like an antique for Stillwater Alchemy in years to come. So if you're wanting some clarity, if you want to invest in a 1-question reading, you can go to my website, work the magic, and then I will get that back to you before Christmas. All right. Now, greatest victories of the week. So this one comes from Velvet Victress. Beautiful handle name, aka Natalie. So there's a little of an interlude before the greatest victory, but I feel it's poignant. So we like long tales of victory. So let's start. In 2021, I went back to school to pursue a master's degree in public relations, bracket, which may have been related to my love for Samantha Jones since I first saw Sex and the City at 13 in the early 2000s. Work. Prior to obtaining my master's degree, I had worked for a decade in an entirely different field. I doubted myself so many times during this process, but your advice played a big role in helping me get organized and stubborn about integrating a time to reflect and manifest in a way that not only worked, but worked better than I could have ever imagined. It's the little things, just even your reminder of words are spells. Here is my greatest victory of the week. I have a Sagittarius rising at 27 degrees and a Sagittarius moon. So I was excited for the new moon this week. My goodness, it did not disappoint. The morning of the new moon, I received an official offer for my first full-time PR job at an agency. And they offered me a senior level position, bracket, even though I applied for an entry level role. Exclamation point, end bracket. After 10 months of being on the job hunt, countless burning bowl rituals, turning into all your new moon meditations, and even making an altar for Aphrodite, and one solely for the kind of job I wanted to have, I have arrived. Thank you so much for all the strength and clarity you brought to my life, where I navigated my way through this entire career transition. I finally feel I'm on the track to live in alignment with my Capricorn North Node. Amazing, 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 Natalie. This is what we're here for. This is work. And it's that tenacity, it's that faith, it's by carving out intentional time to do these things and to shift and to change your day to day, to know that it is possible. And I think if we're doing rituals, spell work, witchcraft, manifestation, prayer, however you want to call it, whatever works best for you, you are setting time to be intentional with your energy. I always tell clients, if you're stretching before a run, or if you are practicing a presentation before you go on in terms of work or school, you're priming yourself, you're allowing that energy to come into your body, you are tuning yourself to that frequency, right? So if you're doing this more and more and more, if you're tuning yourself to that frequency, you know what it feels like, and then it's going to get easier and easier for your body to naturally vibe at that frequency, which is then going to make it easier for you to believe that it's possible, which then allows the universe to be like, great, they not only believe that this can happen, they're already vibrating at this frequency. So if I give them this offering, they're not going to doubt it. They're not going to be confused. They're not going to self-sabotage it because they're already at that frequency. They can integrate it and move on to the next level. So congrats on the position, Natalie. And there's also a question of the week that is really nicely linked to that, but I'll save that for the end. My greatest victory, ever since really Mercury station retrograde, I've noticed with a lot of clients, a lot of beautiful breakthroughs. And we talked about this a little bit last week in terms of Mercury retrograde, making that really nice trine to Jupiter retrograde. Jupiter can represent expansion. If we're going with a Jupiter Mercury transit, expansion of thought, expansion of words. So it's really beautiful that a lot of my clients are seeing this, they're seeing their hard work pay off. Even with this greatest victory of the week from Natalie, we're seeing that things are moving, things are shifting. And if you're not in that place at this moment, don't you worry. We're going to have more blessings to come, especially when we get to January. And when Mercury goes back into Capricorn, Jupiter will be direct as well. So then we get that second Mercury Jupiter trine with both Mercury and Jupiter direct. So lots to look forward to. And with that being said, let's hop into the week ahead, shall we? So we are starting on Monday, December 18th at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So here we have the moon in Pisces making a square to Mars and a trine to Venus. There might be something here where changing something, given that both Pisces and Sagittarius are mutable signs, making a change that may feel painful or that might cause some frustration at first is going to lead to a more deeper, pleasurable result. So this could be maybe having a difficult conversation, Mercury in retrograde. This could also be maybe doing things that aren't exactly comfortable. So you're switching things up. You're switching up maybe the way you speak or the way you do things, but you know that this is what you actually need to move on. You know that this shift is going to help you. Even part of me is thinking like, with this, some of you may be called to rest, depending if you took the time to rest over the weekend. And so that shift may be frustrating. You might be in your head, like, I have so much to do. The holidays are coming. I do this and this and this and this and this. But all you actually want to do is just take that time for yourself or really spend that quality time with one person. And this also for me is very intimate in terms of physicality, connection. It doesn't have to be romance per se, but is there a type of intimacy that you're wanting? And that letting go of something or someone in order to obtain more of that intimacy. Just see if that's coming through. Because we also have the moon making that applied sextile to Uranus. So it's likely there's going to be some type of change. And part of me thinks you might be building up in your head to be so much more than it is. And again, with this Mercury retrograde, especially with Mercury retrograde making that applied sextile to Saturn for most of the week, this might be something that you've always been meaning to do, or this is a conversation you've been wanting to have, or this is a mindset that you're like, oh yeah, I've thought about this before, but now is the time to really implement it for things to go smoother in the long run. So just be aware where you're being asked to shift or to change or to call something in that may seem challenging at first, but is going to lead to a more positive, benevolent, deeper, more meaningful connection afterwards. And this can also mean with, again, the moon and Venus being in strong connection. And there's partial reception here, right? Given that Venus is exalted in Pisces. So I do think this would kind of be a situation where you attract more flies with honey than vinegar. If there's something that is making you uneasy, if you come to it with a more sweet, compassionate approach, then there's going to be a better chance of success here. So just keep that in mind. Even like maybe if you grease the wheels, so to speak, if you're like wanting to prime the conversations. Like, here is some homemade cookies, or do you want me to get you a coffee? And that you're like starting with a sweet gesture to implement a change. Okay. Good. Now, Tuesday. Tuesday, we have the moon conjunct Neptune. So this is also nice to watch on Monday. Monday nights, your dreams might be very intense. You might have very strong intuition. Strong intuition around relationships, or the relationships you're wanting to form. So yes, this can be romantic. This can be professional. This can be within your family dynamic of what needs to change. And that change might also be linked to on Monday when we saw the moon Neptune sextile, but then also the moon square Mars. Mars can also just be where there's action needed. And now that we're in this first quarter moon phase, it also links to inspired action, getting things going. And again, with this being a Mercury retrograde, this might just be a conversation or something that you're going back to. It's like, oh yeah, this hasn't been working. And I know what needs to change for this now to work better. And that can maybe just be where there's extra work needed, because that's also a very Martian energy where you just need to put more time and energy into something, or greater force or greater determination to get over that initial hump, right? And I want you to remember over this past weekend what came through, because this past weekend is where the sun was square Neptune. So it's likely that there was some dream that is going to make you happy or going to make you shine that was really coming to the forefront. And if you were taking time to rest or to integrate, noticing what that dream was, that fantasy, that energy that you want to attune yourself to, because now with the moon conjunct Neptune, the moon making a square to the sun, it's okay, this is a time to initiate that action, to maybe take one step further. Or you might be with Mars here as well, Monday, Tuesday, you might be cutting or separating a commitment, an obligation, or relationship to make that flow easier into your life. And that process of death and rebirth, we also have the moon making a sextile to Pluto. So that might also be an effect of this is a change, or this is a death and rebirth phase that feels intuitively strong. This feels good. And you might be on the receiving end of that as well, right? So again, with us being in Mercury retrograde, don't be afraid of using your voice. You get to use your voice in a way that potentially you haven't ever used before, or that is going to bring you more peace and clarity as you navigate these shifts, especially this week with a lot of things shifting in the cosmos, planetary wise. Now, Wednesday, December 20th. The moon is now in Aries. So both Wednesday and Thursday with the moon in Aries, we have the moon making these strong aspects to Mars and the sun. And also throughout Wednesday, depending on time zones, we have that square to Mercury. So again, both Aries and Capricorn are cardinal signs. So with the moon making that aspect to Mercury and then making those aspects to Mars and the sun, things might feel like they're being accelerated. And part of me intuitively feels like for those of you who have a lot of Martian energy, you're like, fine, like things are picking up. This feels good. There's this momentum coming here. This might be a really good time to cross some things off that to-do list. But for some of you, it might feel like things are going really fast, or there's a lot of change. Like, well, I just feel like everything's changing at once. Or how did that person come to this commitment? Or what, now you're investing into this, or you're doing that, or you're starting this relationship. So depending on your temperament, it might go either way. But regardless, there is going to be this passion, this excitement, this energy to go and do something that maybe, especially with the moon making that square to Mercury retrograde, we're like, oh yeah, I finally have integrated this, or this is starting to make more sense. Or it's an invitation to go back and to connect with a feminine principle, maybe a feminine principle that's making you either frustrated, stuck, or irritated, so that once you have the clarity or the answer, then you can go full speed ahead Wednesday, Thursday with the moon in strong aspect to Mars and the sun. All right. Now, if we're going to Thursday, this is the final day of Sagittarius season. So I often feel during the final day of any zodiac season, or when the planet is at 29 degrees, it's almost like a culmination of that energy, or things wrapping up, where you're really able to see the whole dynamic of what was presented to you during this time. So you can look to the Sagittarius real part of your chart, not only because the sun is wrapping up its transit in the sign of Sagittarius, but Mercury is about to retrograde back into Sagittarius for the second half of the retrograde cycle. So what you just navigated, or what energy was being presented, it's almost like you're now getting a second chance to go over that, to read the fine print, to navigate certain things, and to allow this to be even stronger. This can kind of seem like a second order of dessert. You're like, oh, I thought I was done, or an encore. It's like, great. No matter if you like the band or not, or the restaurant that you're eating or not, there's going to be a second helping of something to help you fully embody this experience of what energies are coming through in this Sagittarius rule part of your natal chart. All right. Now we can see on Thursday, like I said before, the moon is still in really strong aspect to Mars and the sun. And now there's also a square to Pluto. So, like we said, lots of change, lots of dynamic energy going on here. With this could be where you're like, I thought I did all this change. I thought I just ended a certain dynamic. It might feel like there is another death and rebirth phase with the moon making a square to Pluto. And this will likely be prominent as well if you have a lot of late cardinal placements in your natal chart. So remember, the cardinal placements are Capricorn, Aries, Cancer, and Libra. And we also have the North Node making a conjunction to the moon. So this moon North Node conjunction with the moon now in strong aspect to the sun, something could be very loud, or something that is going to be in complete alignment with your body and soul, with your heart and your mind. So that's also another invitation. If it's something feels so strong on Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday, you can embody those two together. It's like, oh, like I know I need to do this. It's calling out to me so strongly. I don't know why, but this is an energy that I need to move forward with. And then realizing what is out of alignment or what is holding you back from really going all in on the energy that's calling out to you. And that's going to be different for everyone. You can also, if you want to get more specific, you can look to the houses in your natal chart, especially on Thursday, that are ruled by Aries and Sagittarius, and also Capricorn, because that Pluto energy here is definitely going to spark some things that are going to be very telling. All right. Now, Friday. Friday is one of the best days of the week for many different reasons. Let's start with the Sun-Mercury retrograde Cazimi happening at 0 degrees of Capricorn. So, of course, we are starting Capricorn season. So happy birthday, happy solar return to all my Capricorn angels. And also, if you have a lot of dominant Capricorn energy in your natal chart, so sun, rising, moon, or just a lot of planets in Capricorn, I really, really want you to pay attention to Friday, because not only do we have the Sun Mercury retrograde Cazimi, and so this can be a day where things are moving very quickly, a great day for correspondence, which is very fitting that it's the Friday before Christmas for those who celebrate. So if you need to get things done, if you need final correspondence, even like sending things in the mail, Friday would be a really strong day to do that. But it's compounded by the fact that we have the moon exalted in Taurus conjunct Jupiter, and these are still in pretty close aspect to the sun and Mercury. So it can just be, and this is almost like if we wanted to define a Christmas miracle or a blessing, an expansion, this is the transits that you would want. The Mercury, Sun, Cazimi with the moon exalted conjunct Jupiter, like this is what dreams are made of. Now, how you want to use this energy is up to you. But if there's some kind of conversation that you want to have that's going to be expansive, if there is a deal that you want to get, if there is any kind of business transaction, if you want to brainstorm for 2024, like these are all very, very, very good ideas to do on Friday. It's just a phenomenal day. If you have no plans, then just set an intention for blessings, expansion, miraculous energy falling on your lap, because no matter what you do, Friday is a phenomenal day. And Friday is ruled by Venus. We have Venus now within a 3-degree orb of Neptune, this getting closer and closer. So especially for my water dominant angels, especially if you have water placements in those later degrees, let's say between 20 and 29 degrees of Scorpio, Pisces, or Cancer, this might feel like a dreams coming true element, or beautiful relationships, or inspiration coming through at this time. So no matter what, there's something here for everyone. If you have a lot of mercurial energy, let's say you're Virgo or Gemini rising, we have the Sun, Mercury, Cazimi. We have strong earth energy. We have the moon exalted. We have the moon exalted conjunct Jupiter. We have Venus in strong aspect to Neptune. There's something here for everyone. So please, please, please enjoy it. Whatever you intuitively feel called to do as well, please trust your intuition, because that's going to help immensely. Now, moving on to Saturday. Saturday, we now see Mercury has retrograded back into Sagittarius, and Mercury is now making that applied square to Neptune, right? Because Mercury is going backwards. Mars is moving forward. So I posted this on Instagram, but just be very mindful of delays at the airport, train station, driving. Just be very, very clear-headed. Make sure that you're intentional. I also posted about having black tourmaline on your body in your bags. Like for me, I'll either wear a bracelet that has black tourmaline, I'll have it in my pocket. So I'm at the airport, I just put the crystal through, doesn't usually go off or affect anything. If you're driving, having it in your car, like in the glove compartment, in the cup holder, again, on your person, you just have it in your pocket, in your jacket, whatever that is. You don't have to overcomplicate it, but just nice spiritual grounding energy to have with you. But I want you to be mindful of if you get easily distracted, if you're looking at your radio, if you're on your phone, or if you're talking a lot, not paying attention to roads, just be mindful now, especially with Mercury being in relation to travel and it's making a square to Neptune, and then Mars is here. I just want you all to be very grounded and safe. Please pass this message along to everyone just to ensure that there's no needless accidents because of being careless or unfocused. And this is also an energy of not driving or texting, not like driving, comma, or even like just texting without being in travel when you're upset or angry. There could be things that are misconstrued or things that you're not getting the whole picture. And especially when we have challenging aspects between Mercury and Neptune, it can be that you're in your head, you're dissociating, you're going over something that isn't real, or you're taking into account like triggering things from your past that are manipulating your mind into the current state, which aren't even real. So just being very, very cautious because Mercury does not have strong essential dignity, strong power in the sign of Sagittarius. So it being bombarded with Mars and Neptune can be very, very challenging. So if you're one to liberate yourself through libations, if you're stressed, or through food or through different substances, this is just a reminder to get grounded, to seek out the support, resource individuals that are going to support you. A positive way that we can use this to your advantage is, again, like we talked about with Venus now in strong aspect with Neptune, with Mercury also in the picture. It's like you could really be focusing on your dreams, your dream life, your dream relationships, what that is. So there might be the fear, the contraction of what if it's not going to work? What if it isn't going to happen for me? Instead being like, it already is working for me. Any pain, obstacles, roadblocks that I faced this year, in the past few years, they're going to work out in my favor, even with the reminder of the greatest victory of the week from Natalie, that no matter how long you're doing things, months, years, if it is a desire that you have, it is yours. If it's meant for you, it's meant for you. You literally cannot do anything to mess this up aside from putting delays or not allowing yourself to feel excited and motivated. And something that's just coming through intuitively is being mindful of the relationships that you keep, being mindful of the words that these people are saying. If it's making you frustrated, if you're having conversations with family and friends and these obligations, you're like, this is really bringing me down, or this is not in alignment. Or I'm like, why do I keep putting myself in these situations to go to these events or spend time with these people when I feel really out of alignment or upset or not like myself? So this can also be an invitation for you to sit with these people, sit with these conversations you're having, and seeing if they're right or not. Now, Saturday as well, we have the moon conjunct Uranus, moon opposing Venus. So there could be things that are making you uneasy, uncomfortable, that you are going to want to say something because you're like, oh, I felt so good yesterday, Friday. Now it's going to be blatantly obvious what is not making me feel good, so that the change has to be there, especially with Venus as well. Venus and Scorpio, it's like, there's Venus and Scorpio is not one about like niceties or being fake. It is really wanting to get to the depths of your soul to see what it is that you want to need in relationships. And with the moon in Taurus, it's like, great, I want to feel safe in these dynamics, safe pursuing my dreams, safe being in these relationships, safe in these opportunities. What needs to change for me to get there? And then the moon is making that trine with Pluto. So positive change, a positive step in the direction that's going to help you. Also, like truth and clarity. There might be big breakthroughs that come through over the weekend, especially with what just happened on Friday. And then Sunday, we have the moon in Gemini. The moon is making a square to Saturn. And also just being mindful that over the holidays, the moon is going to be opposing Mars and Mercury retrograde without any support from either benefic, Venus, or Jupiter. So this could be a spicy, contentious energy if you're not careful. I do think it's a great time to slow down, moon square Saturn. and boundaries as well, right? And this probably came through or is likely to come through on Saturday, where it's like, what needs to change for me to feel safe? And then knowing whether you're either going to say that or you're going to start implementing. It's like, great, I'm going to start evoking some boundaries. I'm going to start saying no. I'm going to start making myself a priority in these dynamics, in these settings, because I can't just keep doing this over and over and over again because it doesn't feel good. My mind is always racing, or I'm in these environment situations that I'm leaving in the past. I'm leaving behind to pursue something that's going to make me feel a lot better. And this is also good too, because now we have a planet in an air sign because we don't have anything in Aquarius. We don't have any planets in Libra. So using your words or being adaptable with your words or your thoughts is likely to come through Sunday, Monday, and then just a little sneak peek on Tuesday is when we're going to have that full moon in Cancer, which is going to act as a really big reset. So remember, with Sunday and Monday, the moon is almost reaching its peak to get that full moon. So it's likely things are going to be coming up to the surface that either need to be changed or things are going to be said, especially when we get to Monday with the moon opposing Mars and Mercury, which is very telling that it's on the 25th. So there might be some family dynamics, some personal dynamics. If you're reevaluating structures at work, if you're feeling like you have to work over the holidays to get ahead, all of these things are going to come up so that we have this beautiful, poignant energy with that full moon in Cancer starting on Tuesday. Okay. So the question of the week was this part 2 from Natalie, which I think is a really good one. So the question is it possible to be born with a rising sign on a cusp? I was born 10 minutes shy of having a Capricorn rising, and I've always felt more drawn to Capricorn people and aesthetics. I also feel noticeably less comfortable in bright colors and funky outfits that most of my Sagittarius risings that I've met. And if this is true, should I tune into Capricorn rising forecasts? I notice a lot of my placements mirror the same as my Capricorn rising friends when I use the Placidus system. So great question. And for me, I believe I've talked about this in the past, but it's a good reminder. There's no such thing as a cusp. Either you're 29 degrees and 59 minutes of one sign or 0 degrees and 0 minutes of another. I'm not even sure where the cusp concept came up. It was probably some pop astrology or people to feel like they could be a bit of both if they were indecisive. Who knows? Maybe it was manufactured by a Gemini or a Libra. However, the one thing that Natalie brought up that's a good reminder, she said that that beautiful PR promotion came up during a Sagittarius new moon. Now, she's not only a Sagittarius rising, as she states, she's a Sagittarius moon, but there was this energy that came up. And whenever we have transits that hit the ascendant, it's even that much more impactful. So the moon can be linked to emotions, the body, the mother, the home. But this is one thing to note as well, that it's 10 minutes. So it is important that if you're doing your birth time, if you're talking to a parent, or if it's actually recorded in a baby book or your birth certificate, that you are sure. Because some parents might say, oh yeah, you were born at 5. Well, was it 5? Was it 4:55? Was it 5:10? Was it 5:11? Like, this does make a difference. Now, in relation to this of noticing your identity or personal style linked to your rising sign, this is not always indicative of just the rising sign. Because if you're a Sagittarius rising, I would also look to see if you have any planets in the first house, which we already know that there is the moon in Sagittarius. So evocative placements of the moon could be more linked to your body shape, wanting to dress comfortably for your body, wanting to flatter your body. If there's certain prominent aspects, like Sagittarius risings are generally known for having nice legs, or just a very generous, buoyant spirit, that could be an indicator. Also, if we're looking at Sagittarius risings, we want to look at Jupiter, because Jupiter is a ruling planet over Sagittarius. A good example of this is Jennifer Lawrence. Jennifer Lawrence is a very famous actress. She is also a Sagittarius rising with her natal Jupiter in the sign of Cancer. If I think of Jennifer Lawrence, I think of like beautiful ball gowns, a classic aesthetic, very old Hollywood. She doesn't really dress in very loud prints or colors per se, but I feel like a lot of that old Hollywood or classic glamour, classic beauty comes from the Cancerian beauty and aesthetic. And last of all, in terms of connecting with Capricorn individuals or using Placidus, even if you're using Placidus, your rising sign shouldn't change. It should still be the same no matter what system you use. So that's always one thing to check to make sure that the information is entered in correctly. And If you notice that your rising sign is in one sign, but you connect more with the other, checking to see if you have any planets in that sign. So in this example, if you have any planets or placements in Capricorn, we know that Natalie shared that she has her North Node in Capricorn. So there could be this energy of feeling, if we're looking at an evolutionary astrology standpoint, that if you know people with a Capricorn sun, rising, or moon, and it's close to your North Node, you're going to feel, oh yeah, like I feel seen by these people. Or this is an energy that feels conducive for me to move along my soul's purpose. And that Capricorn energy of business, of being ambitious, of being strong-willed, of going higher and higher, being the best version of yourself, that can also be very strongly linked. But then again, through a Sagittarius lens, that could be more optimistic, joyful, going for the big picture, going for it all. There are a lot of similarities between Sagittarius and Capricorn in terms of outlook. It's just more that Sagittarius would lean more towards optimistic, generally speaking. Capricorn may lean more towards a pessimistic approach, but not in the sense of being negative, looking at the things that could go wrong so they can correct that and not let that be the downfall as they climb higher and higher up the mountain. So if we're looking at that, it's like Sagittarius is like, I can't wait to get to the top of the mountain, take all the photos and post about it and brag about the accomplishment of getting to the top. Whereas Capricorn is like, okay, we need to make sure that we have the oxygen, we need to make sure that we have enough food, we have to make sure they have the contact information, we have to make sure that we have the Sherpas and everything lined up, that we're training properly so that we can get to the top of the mountain, take a great view. Sagittarius might be more so putting the cart before the carriage, before the horse. Putting the carriage before the horse. Yes, you all know the saying. Mercury retrograde got me at the very end. But I trust that helps, Natalie. And in general, just remember that you're either 29 degrees and 59 minutes of one sign or 0 degrees and 0 minutes of the other. And if you can, especially with regards to finding out your birth time, if you were born in a hospital, contact that hospital, get very clear, and also just intuitively what feels good. But again, if you're really deciding, it's like, do I fit the aesthetics or the general vibe of this rising sign? Not only looking at the sign, looking at if you have any placements in the first house, what planets are aspecting the ascendant, and then third of all, looking at the chart ruler and seeing what sign the chart ruler is in. That can also have an effect on your temperament, your individuality, your style, and things like that. All right. Beautiful. So lots of good change in the mix. This is a really strong week for trusting your intuition, making sure you're in energetic spaces that are aligned and having those conversations to enact change that are going to make you feel optimal and safe on the other side. Okay. So I'm wishing you all a fabulous week ahead. Please feel free to share victories, breakthroughs, any questions. Please get them to me sooner than later so I can incorporate them in the content, because I'm going to be recording the content a little bit sooner in the week compared to the end for holiday rest and recovery. And I will see you all very soon. Have a wonderful integration, change, expansion, intuitive breakthrough, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.